I remember the moment they laughed. It was a warm summer evening, the kind that wraps around you like a comforting embrace. My family had gathered around the dinner table, the clinking of forks and knives punctuating the air. I'd just returned from a seminar on necromycology, my heart racing from the thrill of knowledge, the excitement of discovery. I wanted to share, no, I needed to share what I'd learned about the sinister fungal outbreaks in our local morgue. But as I began to explain, the laughter erupted like a storm. My mother's eyes rolled back into her head, my father's guffaws echoed off the walls, and my sister's cruel smile twisted into a mocking grin. "You're obsessed with the dead, Claire. Do you really think there's a fungus that can talk to spirits? You're losing your mind." They ridiculed my passion, my pursuit of understanding the dark corners of life and death. They called me delusional, unhealthy, a disgrace to our family. Their words cut deep, but I was undeterred. I left that house, their laughter still ringing in my ears, and I plunged into my work with a vengeance. I became a forensic entomologist, dedicating my life to understanding the intricate relationship between decay and fungi. I traveled to abandoned asylums and neglected graveyards, mapping territories steeped in folklore and horror. I unearthed secrets the living were too afraid to confront, and in my pursuit, I found a dark beauty in the decay. Years passed. I became known not just as a scientist, but as a harbinger of truths others dared not speak. I exposed mycological death cults, documented the blurring lines between life and death, and unveiled the horrors festering beneath the surface of our understanding. My work garnered me attention, and with it, a chilling recognition. I was no longer the laughingstock. I was a warning, a testament to the darkness that lurks just out of sight. And then the call came. My father's voice trembled as he asked me to return home. "We need you, Claire. Something terrible has happened." The drive back was a blur of memories. Each familiar turn and twist on the road was laced with nostalgia and dread. I entered the house, the smell of old wood and lingering dinners wrapping around me like a shroud. My family stood in the living room, their faces pale, their eyes wide with fear. "Claire," my mother whispered, her voice shaking, "it's your sister. She's been acting strange. We thought it was just stress, but it's worse." They dismissed my work, my life's mission, but now they were desperate. I felt a mix of vindication and sorrow as I followed them to my sister's room. The door creaked open, revealing a scene that sent chills down my spine. She lay on the bed, her body twitching, eyes wide and unseeing. Dark, tangled vines crept from the corners of the room, snaking across the floor, wrapping around her limbs like serpents. It was a grotesque parody of life, a manifestation of the decay I had studied for so long. "The spores," I murmured, my voice trembling. "They're feeding on her." As I stepped closer, I recognized the telltale signs, the dark fungal growths sprouting from her skin, the way they pulsed and writhed, as if they were alive. My family's disbelief had cost them dearly. They'd mocked what they didn't understand, and now they were witnesses to the consequences. "Get away from her!" my mother screamed, but I stood rooted to the spot, my heart racing. I had faced horrors before, but this was different. This was personal. I reached for my sister's hand, feeling the coolness of her skin, the unnatural stillness that radiated from her. "Claire, please, you need to help her," my father begged, desperation lacing his voice. I drew upon every ounce of knowledge I had gained, the years of study and exploration flooding back to me. "There's a way," I whispered, but it would come at a cost. I had to confront the very essence of what I had uncovered, the dark mycological forces that blurred the lines between life and death. I turned to my family, their faces a mix of fear and disbelief. "You have to trust me. I need you to help me gather what I need. This is our chance." As they scrambled to comply, I felt the weight of my past pressing down on me. I had once been the outcast, the mocked. Now I was their only hope. Together we worked through the night, collecting herbs and ancient texts, piecing together a ritual that could save her. The air was thick with tension as we prepared the room, the shadows flickering ominously around us. I could feel the spores whispering, calling to me, their dark promise wrapping around my mind. But I pushed through, focusing on my sister's fading pulse, the life that still flickered within her. And then, as dawn broke, we began. I chanted the incantation, my voice rising and falling with urgency. The vines quivered, the room filled with an otherworldly energy, and for a moment, I felt the presence of something ancient stirring. I could see the shadows coiling in the corners, could hear the soft whispers of the spores, taunting me, reminding me of the ridicule I had endured. But I pressed on, determined to reclaim my sister from the grasp of the darkness. With one final surge of energy, I reached out, feeling the connection to the fungal entity that had ensnared her. The room erupted in chaos, the shadows swirling, the vines thrashing as I fought to sever the bond. And then, silence. My sister gasped, her body convulsing, before collapsing into stillness. I fell to my knees, breathless, heart racing. She was alive, but the horrors of the night lingered like a shadow. My family stared at me, awe and fear etched into their features. They had witnessed the truth of my work, the reality of my obsession. The laughter had faded. Now they understood the weight of what they had dismissed. As I looked into their eyes, I felt a bittersweet sense of vindication. I had survived the darkness, but it had changed me irrevocably. In that moment, I realized that the true horror was not just in the decay itself, but in the refusal to acknowledge it, to confront it. As I stepped outside, the morning sun broke through the clouds, casting light on the remnants of the night before. I had emerged from the shadows, but the darkness would always linger, a haunting reminder of what I had faced and what my family had nearly lost. And in that quiet moment, I understood. True horror lies not in the shadows themselves, but in the ignorance that allows them to thrive.